concepts on exceptions. We have written some programs on cursors. But did you anytime save a program, Jamal? So let's say I want to run the program which we have executed yesterday. I want to run the same program today. Did we save the program? No, we have not saved the program. So you know how to write a PL/SQL block and you know how to run a PL/SQL block, but you don't know how to save a PL/SQL block. Okay, so procedures are programs which are stored in the database. Okay, why should we store the programs in the database? For repeated execution. Whenever you want to execute a program multiple number of times, okay, it's always good practice to write a program and save that program permanently in the database. Saving the program permanently in the database is called as procedures. This is also called as stored procedures, because as the programs are permanently stored, it is called as stored procedures. Okay, look at this. Look at the concept. This is a PL/SQL block. Okay, I want to run this PL/SQL block. You know how to run the PL/SQL block. So let's open to SQL Star Plus environment. Okay, to get the output set server output on, I'm running the block, the laver.
Yeah.
So as expected, when you run the block as expected, you're getting program, a successful program, and the message output hello. And let's say your management, your manager says that to run this program every day. Jamal, you want to write a program, you want to run a program every day. Okay, when you want to run a program every day, that means you need to save the program, and whenever you want, you can call it. So procedures are programs which are permanently stored. Let's run the syntax. First, let's run the syntax. Create or replace. You need to use the word procedure followed with procedure name is begin the lines of code you want to execute and semicolon slash. This is how to create a procedure. Create or replace procedure followed the procedure name followed the lines of code you want to execute. This is the syntax of how to create a procedure. Let's say this is a block. I want to make this block procedure. Procedure making the block procedure is I want to save this program permanently in the database. So just before begin, Jamal just include a line create or replace procedure followed with the procedure name P1 is. In this example, the name of the procedure is P1. Okay. Now when you run this now, look at the output of this code. Look at the output of this code. Procedure created. Jamal, in this example, what is the name of the procedure?
P1.
P1. And where is the output hello?
It is created.
It is created. It is not executed. Procedure is created. That means the program has been permanently stored with the name P1. And whenever you want to execute the procedure, the command what we need to use is exec. Exec stands for execute is the command which is used to run the procedure. What is the name of the procedure you want to execute? P1. Are you able to get the output? Hello? Can I run it one more time? Dilaver?
Yeah.
Whenever you want, you are able to run the program. Once the program is permanently saved, whenever you want, you can call the program by using exec command. Not only in this session, can I run it in the next session?
Should be.
Are you able to get it in next session? Can I run it after next session? Can I run it after 1 day? Can I run it after 1 week? Can I run it after 1 month? Whenever you want, you can call. When you're writing, when you're writing a program, whenever you want, you should be able to call the program, isn't it? So that concept is called as procedure. So practically every program what we write in the real time is nothing but a procedure. So procedures are programs which are stored permanently in the database for repeated execution. Clear?
Yeah.
How to create the procedures in SQL developer environment? Is it SQL developer or Toad? Dilavar, what do you use it in your case?
We are using Toad only.
Okay, so in the Toad.
How to list all the procedures created?
I'll
Can
show
we
you.
read?
I'll show you.
Okay.
How to create the procedures. So this is the program. In the Toad, how to create it. It's very simple. Same program. You don't need slash if it is in Toad environment. Right like this. Select the lines and then run as script. Execute as a script. When you execute as a script, what is the response you're getting? The response you're getting is procedure is created. Okay, and if you want to execute the procedure, so first you should enable the DBMS output. Here we have the DBMS output by default. It is disabled. Now when you click on this button, it will be turned on. Now the DBMS output is on. Now how to execute the procedure? EXEC P1. This is one way of running the procedure. Are you able to get hello? Got it? Execute as a script. So I want to execute one more time. Just highlight the code and run execute as a script. Again, the second time you got the output. 2 times we have executed. So whether it is SQL developer environment or the Toad environment, the syntax will not change. This is how to create a procedure. Clear? Clear? Let's look at one more example. Look at this. Fourteen insert commands writing inside a begin, end, semicolon. Okay, this becomes a PLC call block just before begin, create or replace procedure P2 is. How to create the procedure in Toad environment? Select the lines of code, execute as a script. Procedure has been created. You are done with creating the procedure. Okay, now right now your employee table is having data. Okay, so let's say I deleted all the rows. Table is truncated. Right now your table is not having any data. Right now your table is having not having any data. I want to load the employee table with 14 records. So Dilaver, I already remember that I have created a procedure P2, which is having set of 14 insert commands. So what I do, the best thing, I will execute the procedure P2.
Yeah. Yeah.
How to execute it? exec followed the procedure name P2. Okay, parent key violated. Okay, so we don't looks like there's constraint in the department table. What is the parent key violation error we are getting? Integrity constraint, parent key not found at line number 5.
We are skipping any column while inserting or what?
No, we are not saving any column. Terminated at line number 6. Should not be the case. Parent key not found. We have not sure why we are getting this error at line number 5. Let us invoke individual lines. Let us understand which insert command is giving an error. Integrity constraint, parent key not found, parent key not found. Employee table is 1 minute. Looks like this. Constraints. How to look at the constraints in this table? Press F4. Referential integrity constraint. Okay. Let us drop this constraint. How to remove the constraint? Drop constraint, alter table, employee, drop constraint followed with the constraint name. What is the name of the constraint? sys underscore c 00876082. Okay, we'll do one thing. exec followed with p2. Procedure successfully completed. Now your employee table will be loaded with how many records? Select star from employee table will be loaded with how many records? All the 14 records. Now you're not getting the data because your insert command should be permanently stored. So finally you need to use a command called commit, which makes this 14 rows permanently inserted into the table. So as any changes in the code, I recreate the procedure. Dilavar, are you following what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Okay. I recreate the procedure one more time. Procedure is created. Now exec. Let's truncate the table. Okay, so here we have used right now your employee table is not having any data. Now I execute the procedure P2. Procedure has been created. 14 rows are inserted. After 14 rows are inserted, the procedure is having a command called commit. What this commit command will do will make the 14 rows permanently stored in the employee table. Now your employee table is having 14 records. So from now, whenever I want the employee table loaded with fresh 14 records of that, I don't need to worry anything. So I just write exec followed with P2. Clear? This is how I create a procedure. Procedures are very, very useful. Any program when you're writing, it should be in the form of a procedure. It should be in the form of a procedure. Let's look at one more example. So how many procedures we have created? Dilavar, P1 is the first procedure which we have created. This P1 is displaying the output as hello, I think. P2 we have created. It is not displaying any output, but it has inserted 14 rows. Okay. Wantedly I create one simple procedure. Create or replace procedure P3 is begin dbms underscore output dot put underscore line. I just write a message something like welcome. If it is stored, this slash is not required. I create a procedure. The name of the procedure is P3. Okay, so if I execute P3, obviously the output what you get is, where can you see the output? Welcome. So I have created three procedures, P1, P2, P3. First point, you should know how to see list of all the procedures which are created. When you're working in a project, you may have 10 procedures or 20 procedures, isn't it, Dilavar? How can we see list of all the procedures? How can we see list of all the procedures?
List procedure.
We have in Toad schema browser. Schema browser will show you schemas. Okay, so here this is the list of all the tables. This is list of views. This is list of synonyms. What you're looking for? You're looking for list of all the procedures. Select the procedures tab. Yes, these are all the list of procedures what we have in our schema, and our procedure is starting with P, P1, P2, P3. So it is in the alphabetical order. Can you see here, Jamal? Can you see list of all the procedures? P1 in the procedures tab, you can see list of all the procedures. In the functions tab, in the synonyms tab. So in the schema browser, you will find list of all the objects as per the type of the object. Okay. Let's say you want to know the code which is there in P1. Let's say you have written, some other developer has developed the code. You want to look at the code inside the procedure. Very simple. So select the procedure. You can see the code which is there in the procedure. Got it?
This access needs to be given by the grant needs to be given by the creator.
Not required. When you have database access, connection access, that's enough. You can see all the objects of that particular user. No specific privileges are required to see list of all the procedures or list of all the objects. If you have access to the database, that's enough. You can see list of all the objects of that particular user. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want, you can recreate it. So you just copy the code somewhere in your notepad, and whatever you want, instead of hello, you want hello world. You can edit the procedure, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then recreate the create or replace, as the name suggests, or replace. If the procedure is already there, the old procedure will be replaced with the new procedure. This is a schema browser window. This is the editor window. Go back to your editor window, copy paste the code, and then execute as a script. The procedure has been created. Now it has been replaced. Now if you write
So you can read it from here.
exec p1, now you can see instead of hello, you'll get hello world.
Sunil, through the schema browser, we can edit the procedure also, no?
You can edit the procedure also in the schema browser. What I'm doing here, I'm copy pasting the code in the editor and I'm doing that. If you want to edit the code directly in the schema browser, you can do that. So go to the schema browser. Okay, for example, I have a procedure P3. I want to edit this procedure P3. So there is option called load into procedure editor. Load in editor, where it gets loaded into the editor, where you can edit and recompile the code. Okay.
Okay.
Right click on the procedure, load it into the editor.
In one procedure, multiple begin and end can be there, no, Sunil?
Yes, yes, yes. That is called nested blocks. I'll show you.
Because today, yesterday I saw that one of the started packages Oracle given to us.
You can say editor. Editor has been opened. Okay, where this is the editor window. The same editor window, you can edit it. Welcome to Oracle. And then how can you compile this? There is
execute.
No, first you should compile it before executing.
Or compile.
Now there will be one icon. After making changes, you should compile it. Okay, so no, compiling is, I'm sorry, compiling is nothing but selecting the code and then click on execute as a script. So it gets compiled. Okay, you can see the procedure has been created. Now if you want to execute the procedure, exec followed with the procedure P3. You can see the output. Previously you are getting welcome, now you are getting welcome to Oracle. Okay, so you know how to see list of procedures.
Yeah.
How can we edit a procedure? Okay, let's say now here we have three procedures, P1, P2, P3. How you are executing the procedure, Jamal? You are executing the procedure by using exec command. Instead, you can also, let's say exec followed it here, you want to mention the name of the procedure. Okay, let's say you want to execute all the three procedures at once. If you want to execute all the three procedures at once, you can write it inside a begin and end.
Okay.
Begin and end. When you want to execute the procedure, so procedure name followed with semicolon. P2 is nothing but insert commands. I don't want to run insert commands because the already employee table is loaded. Now P3 is nothing but welcome. So inside begin and end, just invoke the procedure. So you are calling the procedure. How to call the procedure? If it is a begin and end, you just mention, don't write exec command. Exec command, if you use it if you want to execute from the outside the PL/SQL block. If you're calling it from inside the PL/SQL block, just write begin and end, mention the procedure name followed with semicolon.
It's a procedure of the procedure, huh?
You are calling two procedures at a time. This is a begin and end. This is a PL/SQL block, isn't it, Dilavar?
Yeah. Yeah.
DBMS output. Okay, so P1 the output is hello world, P2 the output is welcome to Oracle. Okay, so
Yeah, Sunil.
you have seen, yes.
Yeah, you're saying the compilation will be for the packages, no?
Procedures also.
Okay.
Not only for packages, compilation is there for procedures, compilation is there for functions, for triggers, for packages. For all these codes, you need to compile it first before executing it.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
is this
Okay.
clear? Okay.
Yeah.
Clear.
Okay. Procedures can have parameters. Procedures can have parameters. There are three types of parameters. First one is in parameters.
Hmm.
Out parameters. There are three types of parameters a procedure can have: in parameters, out parameters, and in out parameters. We have created a procedure P1. We have created a procedure P1. How many parameters this procedure P1 is having? No parameters at all. The P1 procedure is not having any parameters. Any parameters we have it for P3 procedure, Dilavar? No parameters.
No,
The
madam.
examples, whatever we have discussed, those are the procedures which are not having any parameters. But if required, procedures can have parameters. Okay, let us learn about these three types of parameters. Which out of all these three types of parameters, in parameters are very important. We rarely use out and in out parameters. Very rarely used. Most of the times we always use in parameters. Okay, let us learn how can we use. Yes.
Our insert command was there. 14 rows we have inserted. That is called insert parameter or
No,
user will be
those are,
entering it.
those are those are just insert commands. They are not parameters. Okay,
Oh,
parameters are when the procedure is having parameters. When you are executing it, it will ask for the value for the parameter. P2 is
okay.
a procedure. When you are executing it, is it asking for any value?
No, no, no.
No, it is not accepting any value. All the insert commands that are executed at once. Okay, so insert commands are not considered as parameters. They are just DML commands. Okay, whereas procedures can have parameters. For example, create a procedure which accepts two numbers and display sum. What I want my procedure to accept how many numbers? Two numbers. So Jamal, if you want the procedure to accept two numbers, then how many parameters your procedure should have? Two parameters, obviously. Create or replace procedure. Procedure name. Let's have a meaningful name. Add underscore num is the name of the procedure instead of P1, P2. Let's have a meaningful name. Open the brackets and mention the names of the parameters. How many parameters Dilavar we are planning to have? A procedure should have
Super.
two parameters. So parameter name, parameter mode, parameter data type.
Size is not required.
Size is not required. Only the data type is begin. And observe according to the syntax. I have shown you the syntax, isn't it? If you look at the syntax, there is no declare keyword.
Yeah.
Jamal, there is no
Yes.
declare keyword, but it is understood that lines before begin is nothing but declare. Lines after is and between is and begin is considered as a declare section.
But still we can declare, no? Even in the procedures, stored
Yes,
procedures.
we can declare it. You can declare. That's what where we should declare before begin. I am declaring a local variable c which is of number. Next c colon equal to. I want to store the value of two variables. Store values of two parameters into c. So c equal to a plus b. Next, I want to display the output c. So the dbms underscore output dot put underscore line. In this example, the name of the procedure is add underscore number. How many parameters the procedure is having? 2 parameters. What are the names of the parameters? The name of the parameters are A and B. What type of parameters they are? They are in parameters. What the in parameters? In parameter will accept the value from the user. In parameters will accept the values from the user. So it accepts how many values? 2 values. And sum of 2 numbers, I'm storing it into local variable C and I'm printing it. So first step, what I should do, Jamal, I should create this procedure. I should create this procedure. So copy the lines of code, paste it in code environment.
Commit.
And execute as a script. Procedure is created. Any doubts in creating the procedure? Any doubts in this example?
No.
No. I want to execute the procedure. Can I invoke the procedure inside begin and end? Jamal, can I invoke the procedure inside begin and end? How to invoke the procedure between begin and end? By using add underscore
Add some
number.
num.
Add underscore num is the name of the procedure. Is a procedure having parameters? Yes. So when the procedure is having parameters, you need to pass the values 10, 20. Very, very important. If the procedure is having parameters, you need to pass the values at the time of invoking. You're passing how many values? 10 and 20. Variable A will be initialized with 10. Variable B will be initialized with 20. Variable C becomes 30. The output is the sum is 30. Where is the output? Go to DBMS output. What is the output you're getting? The sum is 30. Clear? What happens? What happens if you pass only one value? What will be the output? The output what you get is an error. Please look at the output. Please look at the output. Please read the message, Jamal. Wrong number or type of arguments. Wrong number of arguments. How many arguments you need to pass? 2 arguments. But how many arguments you're passing? 10, only 1 argument. So this kind of results you'll get it. So remember, if the procedure is having 2 parameters, at the time of invoking, you need to pass 2 values. If the procedure is having 10 parameters, at the time of invoking, you need to pass 10 values. Then the procedure gets executed. Can I execute multiple number of times? Same procedure? Yes, procedures are meant for executing multiple number of times. 10, 100. Okay, 10, 45. Some information. 34. How many times I'm invoking the procedure?
3 times.
3 times. Please look at the DBMS outputs. 100 plus 10, 110, 55 and 59. Is this clear? You can execute n number.
If you pass 3 parameters, if 10, 100, 200, then also the same error message will come. Huh? Sunil? Sunil? Sunil?
Running will end in 5 minutes.
Now, what if if we stop, as you earlier said, after coming from the
Yeah,
Hmm.
it will be an August.
Well, that will be half of it. I was assuming that everything is 100% before going. So it is not possible now. So let's stop at principle, not start the technical.
On August.
Whatever it is.
Okay,
Hmm?
I am with that because
So I already suggested it. Because at the time, my idea was to finish everything. And now
at least we
don't
can
finish
also
everything.
review.
Hmm?
We can also review
Yeah, yeah.
before
Hmm.
we can complete the video while on the leave. That's but we already paid him.
Yesterday we did so
Hello. Hello. Yeah, Jamal.
now
Network problem. 1 minute. 1 minute, please.
no issue. बस हुआ बना बदल बना हुआ नहीं, यहाँ से भी क्या प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, क्योंकि बिल्डिंग से निकलना जरूरी है। हाँ
Yeah, I'm back.
यस मैंने
Okay. So when the procedure is having parameters, it is our responsibility to appropriately pass the values to all the parameters. Otherwise, when you are invoking, you'll get an error. Let's look at one more example. I want you to try out with this example, both Jamal and Dilavar. Both together, you should try working out with this example. Try to understand the program and try to frame the example for this procedure. This is a task for you. "28 rows we have. Let's say probably I think we have executed 2 times. That's the reason 14 P2 procedure. The lover we have executed 2 times. So 14 plus 14, 28 rows has been loaded.
Yeah, correct.
So I want only 14 rows. So what you should do? First remove all the 28 rows. Truncate table, employee table. Truncate table has been truncated. Now the table is empty. How to load 14 rows now? Fresh 14 rows.
Yeah, begin.
Execute, begin
We need to call that procedure name. Execute
P2, execute P2.
P2.
If you want, either you need to. There are 2 ways of invoking. Either you should write execp2, or
Yeah,
if you want to invoke it inside begin and end,
yeah,
just write p2 followed with semicolon.
yeah.
Okay. So frankly, we always most of the time we invoke it using a begin and end only. So begin p2 semicolon followed with
And
got it.
yeah,
Okay. Try to frame this example. I want you to try this example. Create a procedure which accepts employee number and display his salary. I want a procedure which accepts employee number and display its salary. For example, look from the output point of view. Begin. How to invoke it? We invoke it from inside begin and end, isn't it? Let's
yes.
name the procedure as display underscore sal is the name of the procedure which you are planning to create. In that procedure should accept what? Employee number. If I am passing employee number 7369.
Number. A number.
If I pass 7369, the output what I should get is the salary is, what is 7369 salary? 800. This is what I want. Can you frame a procedure which will do this task? What is the name of the procedure we are planning to create? The name of the procedure which you are planning to create is display underscore salary. How many parameters the procedure should have? Jamal, only one parameter. What parameter it should be? It should be of number data type. And
Yeah.
like you can use this as a reference. This is how to create a procedure with parameters. Yes, this is how you can use this reference.
A
Okay.
number.
Now how to write the code? Tell me. Dilavar, tell me how to write the code. I'll start writing the code as per you say. I'll write the code.
Yeah.
As per the syntax, first what to create or replace procedure
display cell
which accepts a parameter. Assume the parameter name is A.
In number.
In parameter, what is the data type? Number is begin. Next.
Begin. And write in that format. And okay, come up. Yeah. And then we need to have one variable which can hold the salary.
Salary.
Yeah.
V underscore sal, emp dot sal percentage type. Yes,
Yeah.
you can use percentage type. Next.
Oh,
If I pass 7369, I want the salary. How to retrieve the salary from the table? By writing a select statement. The only way to display the data from the table is by writing a select statement.
Select.
So we should write a select statement inside the procedure.
Yeah, correct.
From
Yeah. Select salary from here.
Where
There.
employee number equal to
73.
is it right? Where employee number equal to A. It could be 7369, it could be 7900. Employee number is decided at the runtime. You cannot hard code, isn't it?
Yeah.
Agree? So if I'm
Yeah.
invoking, look at this. Think from invoking point. If you pass 7369, A becomes 7369. 7369 is a salary we are displaying. Next.
And DBMS.
What I should write? Jamal.
The salary is
the salary is
display underscore sal. That's a display
company, then A.
pipe. Display underscore. No, not A. Output parameter. Display underscore sal.
First point.
Or
Jamal,
no,
is it selected?
We underscore sir, sorry.
First point. Question to Jamal. Is it select statement correct or should we make any changes?
Select cell for
Dilavar, is this select statement correct or should we make any changes?
maybe we have to use that into.
Not
into
maybe, mandatory. Mandatory. Every select statement should have what clause? Into clause.
No, I remember.
Yeah.
So select sal into which variable you want to store it into? V underscore sal. We have done this many times. Whenever you are writing a PLC call log, every select statement should have into clause.
Yeah, it will load the into the.
This helps me in coming into a conclusion that both of you are not spending time practicing. Huh? Jamal? Yeah. So I am able to understand. I am a trainer. I can understand by looking at the results of the participant, by looking at the response of the participants. I can evaluate how much time you are spending for practicing. You are not practicing. Training will be effective, or whatever the concepts we are learning, it will be remain permanently in our brains only when you practice. Otherwise, it will be rolled back.
We will try to commit. In fact, I am doing practice, but I am still at the joins and subqueries. I'm coming from behind. So,
Okay.
So that's the reason this is
Okay. Now next, the salary is concatenated followed with V underscore like this. Procedure is created. You can execute in two ways. Either you can execute it using bxcc command or begin and end. I will execute it using a begin and end. Inside begin and end, I'm invoking the salary display underscore sal. I'm passing. It can be any number. You can pass 7369. I want to pass 7900. So where is the output? The set server output on. The salary, the salary of employee number 7900 is 950.
Okay.
Okay. So can I invoke it? I want to know the salary of 7839. Whatever you want.
Sunil,
Can I invoke it multiple number of times?
yeah, Riga, yeah. Suppose if the employee ID is not available, I mean, if the record doesn't exist, how it will display the error?
Okay. I'm coming to that point. We have 7788. Yes, we have 7788. We have 7839. We have 7839. 7900. Yes, we have 7900. All the three employee numbers are valid. I'm invoking in how many number of times? I'm invoking it 3 times inside a begin and end. TBMS output. Salary is 950 for 7900, 5000 for 7839, 3000 for 7788. Got it? So like this, it is a very meaningful task. Your procedure is doing a very meaningful task, accepting an employee number, displaying the salary. These kind of procedures are very frequently used in the real time. You can see a friend many applications which accept some policy number and displays the premium amount what the customer should pay. Agree? You have banking application which accepts account number and displays the balance remaining. So, so this kind of information, vehicle registration number will be accepted. It will show you the customer details. So this kind of very meaningful procedure. So whenever you want, users will invoke this procedure as per the requirement, pass the valid inputs, and get the corresponding results.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sunil, also one more question. I mean, everywhere we are just, I mean, in this begin and end, we are hard coding the input parameter. Can it be a running parameter? How we used to get in the PL SQL block where in a normal procedure, not a stored procedure, normal procedure ampersand A we used to get.
We have used ampersand operator, isn't it? Look at this.
Yeah. So here also in this stored
yes,
procedure.
we can use it. I'll show you the example. Look at this. This is no doubt. Okay, understood. Ampersand operator. Whenever you use an ampersand operator, you'll understand how the output will be. Enter a value for employee number. Now, basing on the runtime, whatever the end user passes, then the corresponding output will be displayed.
Okay.
The salary is 950.
Yeah. If you pass a record which it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I'm coming to that point.
Exception.
Okay, so you know how to use ampersand operator. As of now, I'm not using ampersand operator. I'm passing an employee number.
Okay.
1122, we don't have it in the employee table. Jamal, we don't have 1122 in the employee table. What is the output of this program? Let's evaluate the program with this 1122. Variable A will be initialized with employee number 1122. Program execution starts from begin. The select statement gets executed. Select salary into vCell where employee number comes 2222. We don't have employee number 2222. In that case, what will happen? What will be the output? The salary is
The salary will be it will be successful. You will not get a result.
So what is the output you get? Do you get the salary is followed with null value?
You will not get the value. The salary is only.
Okay. I will execute this. Tell me, evaluate this and tell me what happened actually. Read the message.
No data from. Okay.
What is no data found?
That means
Are you getting a
that's
confirmation message? Are you getting a confirmation message PL SQL process successfully completed like this? No, the program has been terminated abnormally. Why the program has been terminated abnormally? Because when a select statement does not return any row, control enters to the exception. What exception is raised? No data found exceptions. In case of exception is raised, what we should give, it is our responsibility as a developer to give a meaningful message saying that the employee number is invalid. It is our developer's responsibility to give a meaningful messages to the end user, isn't it, Dilavar?
yeah, correct.
So how can we give meaningful message to end user? By handling the exception. How can we handling the exception? By writing a exception section. Can we use exceptions in procedures? Everything, yes, we can do it. All the concepts can be used in procedures. So I start the exception section when no underscore data underscore found, then dbms underscore output dot put underscore line employee number is invalid. This is how you should write a PL SQL programming.
But Sunil, we are looking at the number input, and we are saying that number may not be available, employee number. But what if a user is entering ABCD? That also, I mean, that exception again, it will not be available.
No. The first point. Think from any application point of view, how a particular code will be executed. The particular code will be executed when button is pressed. That is from the form. Agree? When button is pressed. Okay. Enter an employee number. Enter your ticket number and get the confirmation. Whatever it is. So it could be, for any application, it could be front-end environment as well as back-end environment. So what we are learning is a standalone back-end environment. Okay. So all that validations that you should only pass a number, special characters are not allowed, characters are not allowed. Those kind of messages will be handled at the front-end application. Let's say if you're developing a Java application, okay, when you're developing a text field in the Java field, there in the front-end application we handle, okay, please input only numbers. Those kind of applications, those kind of validations, we do it at the application level. Which level? Front-end application level. Okay.
Correct.
Got it?
Yeah, but what if how system will deal now in the backend if you put ABCD as an input?
Now, what happens? Value error exception, isn't it? When there is any data type mismatch,
But
or
we didn't give an exception here in this. The
here we have
exception, yeah,
we have
so
handled only no data found. In that
data
case, we
found.
also
others,
have a universal handler when others.
yeah, that's one. Yeah.
Then a generalized message, please take the code.
Yeah.
Okay, got it?
Yeah, fine. Yeah, when others, yeah, fine.
So that's how you should handle it. So slowly, so this is how you should. Now procedure has been created. Now I want to execute the procedure. Let's say now if I pass an invalid employee number, look at the output, Jamal. Employee number is invalid. So no matter whether it is valid inputs or invalid outputs, so we should make sure that our programs are successfully completed. We should never have abnormal terminations, which is not at all accepted in the real time. So abnormal terminations, when we can avoid it, only when you handle the exceptions by writing a exception section. Clear?
Yeah.
Is this clear how to create a procedure? Shall we try one more example?
Yeah.
Create a procedure which accepts create a procedure which accesses employee number Try to understand. Let's name the procedure as INC underscore salary because my procedure is incrementing the salary. So begin and end. Okay, my procedure name is increment underscore salary. If I pass, my procedure should accept employee number. If I pass 7369, what should be the? I don't want any output. I don't want to display salary. I don't want to display employee name. I want to increment the salary. That means what is the current salary of 7369? 800. Now it should be changed, incremented by 1000. That means it should be changed to 1800. If I pass 7934, 1300 should be changed to 2300. Whatever the employee number I pass, that employee number's corresponding salary should be incremented by 1000. Jamal, tell me.
Yes.
Start. I'll start writing the code.
Declare one variable.
Okay, create or replace procedure.
Increment underscore salary, which accepts what? Employee number. Let's say A in number is begin.
Then first you have to declare the variable.
One variable you want? Salary variable?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Next.
Okay. Then and done. Okay.
I want to increment the salary.
Sunil?
Yes.
So, I mean, when we want to increment, then first of all, we need to call the record, each record.
We don't want to increment all the 14 rows. Whatever the employee number I pass, that particular employee number salary should be incremented, isn't it? If I pass 7369, only 7369 salary should be incremented by 1000. How to increment the salary?
Using the update.
How using the update? So Jamal, we should write what command? How to change 800 to 1800 by writing an update command.
Yeah.
Update employee table set sal equal to write 1800.
No.
Sal equal to sal plus 1000. Where which employee number you want to update? Employee number equal to A. Perfect. Where employee number equal to A, because the A will be the input parameter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Next, I want this update command to be executed permanently, so I use commit and semicolon. That's it. So we don't need variable. Variable when you need to, when you are writing a select statement. Here we are not writing a select statement, so we don't need any variable, Jamal. Okay? Because I want to increment the salary. Procedure created. Now how can I execute the procedure? Inside begin and end you can execute it. We already have the procedure. 7369. Sorry, semicolon missing. Okay, let's go back to 7369. 7369, previously it was 800, now it has been incremented by 1000. Perfect. Whenever you want to increment the employee salary, so HR will call this particular procedure and pass the employee number, so that particular employee number's increment salary gets incremented. Got it?
Yeah.
So like this, programs which will do a specific task, which are permanently stored. How can we see list of all the procedures? We have P1, P2, P3, display salary, increment salary, add numbers. We have created 6 to 7 procedures. All the 6 to 7 procedures list, we can see it on the schema browser. Under the procedures tab, you can see the list of procedures. Not only looking at the list of procedures, you know how to review the code which is there in the existing procedure. And if you want, you can make some changes to that existing procedure and recreate the procedure. Am I right?
Yeah.
Shall we try one more example?
Yeah.
This is important. Please look at the question and try to give me the answer for this example. Create a procedure which accepts department number and display all the employee names and salaries of the department. This is what I want. I want a procedure which accepts department number. Okay, let's name the procedure. Visualize begin and end. Let's name the procedure display underscore info is the name of the procedure. If I pass 10, in that case, Jamal, my procedure should display all the employee names working in department number 10. How many employees we are assuming that the 3 employees working in department number 10, all the 3 employee names and all the corresponding 3 salaries should be displayed by this particular procedure. Is that question clear, Jamal, Dilavar?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, both of you, can you tell me how to start writing the code?
I'll start in the beginning.
The create or replace.
So that line is very easy for you.
Yeah, definitely I will.
Display underscore info, which access a in number.
Yeah.
Now,
Is
now
is-
Dilavar, you
Begin. No. Now tell me.
and
Okay.
okay. Now we are
Tell me.
preparing the structure. In fact, the structure is more important. And
Yeah.
whenever we want, we can just include the line and we will remove it. So
You will
here,
include the logic. First, you frame the structure.
yeah. So here we are going to display. So we need to have a select statement, and the select.
And
will,
how many columns you want to display? 2 columns, employee name and salary. So
Yeah.
how many variables you need? 2 variables.
variables are required? Ename, eap.ename, percentage type, copy paste with vsal. Yeah, begin. Write the select statement after begin.
select start from.
Select both the columns.
Not
Ename,
star. When you write star, Jamal, you'll get all the 8 columns. You don't want all the 8 columns. You want only 2 columns.
Ename and sal.
ename comma sal into no, not from. We should not use from. We have to use into.
Oh, we are perfect.
So we have where department condition we have to give.
Department number equal to, is it 10 or 20 or 30? What should be?
A.
Perfect. Next.
Yeah, DDMS we want to display. Yeah, definitely.
That's it. Shall we run?
Yeah. Also, we will take care of the exception. Now, to be a good developer, we need to have that exception. Where
Okay.
others, then,
Okay.
And
Let us include the exception. First, let's get the error, and then we'll include the exception.
okay.
Okay.
Execute.
Please evaluate the procedure one more time, both of you, and tell me, is there any chance, is there any logic correct or not? Or do you feel that do we need any more changes?
I think variable we can remove.
Select.
Not select.
Where to store the data?
No, when there are 2 columns, we should have 2 variables. No doubt variables are correct. Okay, let us run this. Now Jamal, display underscore info is the name of the procedure. I am passing value 10. A will be initialized with 10.
10.
So here select statement variable A will be initialized with 10. Department number 10, so employee name and salary will be stored into corresponding two variables. Read the error message and identify the problem in the procedure.
Yes. More than too many rows.
Too many rows exception. Here the select statement where department number equal to 10. Select star from EMP where department number equal to 10. How many rows are there in department number 10? 3 rows. We know that the select statement will run successfully only if it is exactly returning one row. When it is returning no rows, no data found. If it is returning more than one row, control is entering to too many rows exception. How can we avoid the too many rows exception? How can we make sure that we run a select statement which returns more than one row? What concept we should use?
Explicit.
What concept we should use?
When others we can use the exception section.
Okay, when you use when others we will catch the exception and give a message meaning we please check the code. But how to make sure that the select statements are running successfully? How to run select statement which returns more than one row? We should then in this scenario, in this case, we should go for explicit cursors. Dilavar, what is the need for explicit cursor? Okay, why we should use for explicit cursor? Yes. So this scenarios we should go for explicit cursors. If you write explicit cursors, it's a 4-step process. Declare the cursor, open the cursor, fetch statement, and close the cursors. But we have a shortcut way of writing explicit cursors that is called cursor for loops. So first we should declare the cursor. Cursor name is, mention the select statement you want to execute. Select ename comma sal from EMP where department number equal to 10. Declare the cursor. Next I use cursor for loops. When I use cursor for loops, local variables are also not required. Just declare the cursor. Now how to use cursor for loops?
Open.
You remember? For
Open.
Variable A in C1 loop. It could be 1 to 3 or 1 to 5. You don't know number of rows which are there in the department number 10, isn't it? So for all the rows which are there in the cursor, variable A gets implicitly declared. dbms underscore output dot put underscore line. How to print employee name? How to refer it? A dot ename. Concatenation operator followed with A dot salary and loop. This loop will execute for all the records which are there in the cursor. Every time you will get the corresponding employee names and salaries. Now recreate the code. Procedure is created. Now execute the code. Yes, now you are able to run select. Now you are successfully executing select statement which is returning more than one row. Now if I want to display department number 20, then I pass department number 30. Now if I pass department number 30, my select statement will return 6 rows and my cursor will execute. Not in 13 we have 3 employees only?
Yeah, department 30 we have 3.
(20) also we have 3?
Well, output is repeating. No, when we have given department number equals to 10, now it is already frozen.
Sorry, department number equal to?
8.
What? Good. If we pass 20, and these are the employee names and salaries of department number 20. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, Sunil,
So, Dilavar, you got to know the need for writing an explicit cursor. Then we should use cursors to whenever your select statement is returning more than one row.
More than one row.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Shall we try one more example?
Yeah. Sunil, you can give us one
Assignment?
assignment. Yeah.
Yes, this is the assignment. Okay, look at this. I want you to come out tomorrow with this exam, with this scenario. Okay?
Okay.
Create table. Table name is marks. Table name is student. With first column student number, number of size 3.
Yeah.
Next column name is English. Okay, let's say subject is subject 1, number of size 3. Subject 2, number of size 3. Subject 3, number of size 3. Student number 101. 60 marks in subject 1, 75 marks in subject 2, 91 marks in subject 3. So if you want to exercise, you create the table and insert these 5 rows into the table and use the commit command so that the table is created. Select staff from the name of the table is. Now what I want is the output. The average of 101 is +60 +75 +91 divided by 3. 75.3. Whatever it is, the average corresponding average marks of each and every student. Are you understanding?
Yeah.
That means my cursor should execute for all the rows which are there in the table. Okay, and this statement should be inside a loop, and I should get this. Can you try this?